Chapter 701, Third Beast Taming Talent, 1. Chapter 701, Third Beast Taming Talent, 1. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. In the legendary ruin space, after the black-winged horse ape entered, it was stunned by the scene in front of it on the spot. The ground that looked like it had experienced a forbidden weapon explosion, the hot sky, and the totem corpse. It definitely meant that this place had just experienced a tragic battle. However, after entering, the black-winged horse ape didn't discover any threatening creatures. The 3 Overlord-level undead that had locked onto it weren't very strong according to the black-winged horse ape's intuition. It was impossible for the changes here to be caused by them, so what exactly was going on? Before the black-winged horse ape could investigate further, the green-scaled dragon spirit, the ice-eyed tiger spirit, and the mountain tortoise spirit moved again. Dragon breath. Ice light. Flying rock. It arrived with a bang. At the same time, a grey-robed old man flew in the sky in the distance, his gaze green as he walked over. The black-winged horse ape's heart skipped a beat as it realized that it couldn't stay long. Although they didn't look like much, looking at the cow's miserable state, there was definitely great danger inside. Is that all? Of course, facing the enemy's attack, a trace of disdain still appeared on the black-winged horse ape's face. It waved the black light sword in its hands, and the phantom-like sword light instantly resisted the dragon breath, ice light, and flying rocks that attacked in all directions. This black-winged horse ape's strength was indeed extraordinary. Shiyu also acknowledged it very much. After all, its beast tamer was ranked among the legends of the 7 islands. Baichuan, a level 7 beast tamer, had contracted 7 Overlord-level pets. The number of Overlord-level pets contracted by this one person was almost comparable to the number of Overlords in the Heavenly Fox Nation. This was also normal. In terms of financial resources, excluding the private assets of the Totem Fox God, the entire Heavenly Fox Nation could be beaten up by the Ku Yuan Financial Group. Boom! The sword light that was like a violent wind phantom cancelled out the dragon breath, ice light, and flying rocks in the smoke explosion. During this period, the 3 undead overlords continued to approach the black-winged horse ape. As for Shiyu, he rushed over as if he was looking at prey. Beside him, Ji Mengzhu was silent. What was he doing? Shiyu licked his lips. What else could he do? Of course, it was to attract its beast tamer through this big monkey. The light in Shiyu's eyes was still shining. But soon, his expression stopped. This was because after the big monkey curled its lips in disdain, it actually turned around and ran. It flew towards a spatial crack not far away, wanting to return to the outside world. Wua tilde? The black-winged horse ape had almost understood the internal situation. Its beast tamer's order was to take a look and go back to confirm if the black meteorite yak was really dead. Now that the mission was completed, there was no need to fight. Seeing this, the corners of Shiyu's mouth twitched. He quickly said telepathically, "Senior Ji, is there no way to seal it here?" Ji Mengzhu said, "No. If this space wants to have the power to seal again, I'm afraid it won't be possible without 1,000 years. Even if it's an internal and external teleportation and sealing of the ruins, I'm afraid we have to wait until the ruins are almost repaired. That attack just now has already completely disturbed the stability of space. Of course, if we only make equipment to strengthen spatial seal-type moves, the ruins can do it, but there has to be another life as the main body. It can only play a support role." Shiyu sighed. From the looks of it, he couldn't lure the opponent in through this big monkey. The other party's speed was too fast, and he couldn't catch up at all. The opponent was very sneaky. But at this moment, something unexpected happened. Ji Mengzhu's pupils constricted. 2 voices appeared in Shiyu's ears at the same time. "Not good, a totem has entered. You ran pretty quickly. Kid, are you all right?" Upon hearing that, Shiyu, who was flying in midair, smiled and said, "It's one of ours." New spatial fluctuations appeared beside Shiyu, Ji Mengzhu, and the others. A woman in the battle robe of the Heavenly Fox Nation and a big cat appeared. The moment they appeared, Ji Mengzhu immediately sensed that this cat was the totem-level life form she had sensed with Shiyu previously. Ji Mengzhu didn't expect that this Dong Huang guardian actually looked so harmless. Senior, at this moment, when she saw Shiyu and saw that the grey-robed old man who saved her was fine, Chu Ling's expression was also delighted. But soon, she and the gem cat also noticed the messy scene in this sealed space like the black-winged horse ape just now. The corners of the gem cat's mouth twitched. This mark looked like it had just appeared. Moreover, why did it feel so similar to baby Ginseng's self-destruction traces? At this moment, baby Ginseng and 11 had already been taken back by Shiyu, leaving Kai Tong possessing the bone sword. Similarly shocking was the spirit body following beside Shiyu. When it saw this spirit body, the gem cat wanted to rub its eyes with its cat claws. What the F***ck was going on? Wasn't this the little girl who raised pandas in Pingcheng? Wait. Looking carefully, the difference was still quite big. At least, she was much more mature than that little girl. At this moment, there was no time for the gem cat to think too much. After seeing the gem cat, Shiyu immediately revealed a hearty smile. He said, "You came at the right time. Help me with something. If the black goat and that beast tamer still come in later, we'll kill them before they come in. If they don't come in and just guard outside, we'll wait too. If they want to run, take the initiative to attack and kill them." Chapter 702, The Third Beast Taming Talent, 2. Chapter 702, The Third Beast Taming Talent, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. The gem cat? As Shiyu spoke to the gem cat, its face fell. It regretted coming in. As it knew that Shiyu was inside the ruins, it wasn't as afraid as the black goat and the others that didn't dare to enter. It saw that an overlord had entered and might pose a threat to Shiyu and the others, so the cat directly entered. However, it didn't expect that just as it entered, the baboon would run away. Moreover, Shiyu started to order it around right after meeting. And now it had to fight a dangerous totem like the black goat totem. Even that fox god was unwilling to be too entangled with this black goat. "Why are you in such a hurry?" The gem cat was a little afraid. He didn't want to fight the black goat head-on. "I'm afraid that beast tamer will run away." Shiyu said, "Don't forget, he's the core figure of the change in this mission. Of course, that guy's talent looks pretty good." The gem cat. "No problem, the space is about to be repaired. At that time, we'll directly carry out the kill strategy and persist for a while as we hide in this space. A mere totem can't do anything to us. At least, the strength of this space is still online. Senior G, didn't you just say that this legendary sealed ruin can be used as equipment to increase the effect of spatial moves?" The user is here now." Shiyu's words made the corners of the gem cat's mouth twitch. What was going on? Ji Mengzhu was also very silent. Wait a minute, was it really all right? However, in the face of Shiyu's starry gaze, she still quickly took out the ruin's controller. This is the core of this ruin. At this moment, Ji Mengzhu finally handed the control equipment of the legendary ruins to Shiyu. This was something that looked like a black stone card. Shiyu temporarily called it the ruins card. "All right." Shiyu nodded after taking the card. With this, he could instantly retreat back into this ruin. As long as the ruin was repaired and they instantly hid inside, even if it was at the totem level, it couldn't do anything to them. After all, this was a legendary ruin. Even without the sealing ability, the strength was still there. If it was an ordinary ruin like Shiyu's ruin ring, he would undoubtedly be instantly torn down by the black goat if he wanted to use it to dodge the pursuit, causing the entire ruin to collapse. There was nowhere to escape. However, this was a legendary ruin that could even seal top-notch totems. It was completely no problem to hide for a moment. At that time, he just had to wait for Dong Huang's reinforcements in the ruins. Even if Dong Huang's reinforcements didn't arrive, he could find an opportunity to let the gem cat slip away with the ruin card and escape from this guy. In short, he was definitely going to eat this Bai Chuan up. If he let the other party escape this time, there would be no chance next time. The other party had to stay. At the same time, in the outside world. Swoosh! With just a probe, the black-winged horse ape immediately came out of the crack. Baichuan also understood the situation inside the ruins through it. His expression was dark as he said, "It's bad, there are beast tamers, many overlord-level undead enemies, and large-scale lethal weapons. The black meteorite yak was killed just now. I can confirm that there are no longer any signs of life." As soon as he finished speaking, the black goat beside it was also shocked, its mood constantly changing. "Give up, let's retreat first. That fox has probably already called for help, and the black meteorite yak is no longer around. It's disadvantageous for us to continue staying. Besides, there's still a certain amount of danger inside the ruins. We don't know what trump cards the other party has." Although Baichuan felt that it was a pity, the black meteorite yak, a key life form that could help revive Yunnan, was already dead. He felt that for the sake of safety, he should give up this mission. Damn it! Although the black goat was unhappy, it didn't refute. The mission this time was to bring back the black meteorite yak. If even the target was already dead, there was indeed no need to stay here and take risks. "Let's go." The black goat was silent for a moment before saying unhappily. It turned around and planned to leave. Baichuan took a deep breath and planned to leave. Seeing this, the eyes of the two groups who were paying attention to the black goat and Baichuan flashed. The heavenly fox saint stood beside the fox god and said, "Lord Fox God, looks like they don't plan to explore this ruin anymore. What should we do next? Should they hold on to these people who entered the heavenly fox nation or let them leave? They weren't exploring ruins anymore. Should the heavenly fox nation explore it? These needed to be decided by the fox god. The fox god's 9 huge tails danced, and its gaze was unfriendly. Let them go. Just as that black goat said, if they started a war, the heavenly fox nation would definitely pay a huge price. The fox god was clearly unwilling to make such a sacrifice. Although from the looks of it, the legendary ruins had already been taken by someone else, the fox god had already decided to suffer in silence. At this moment, the fox god was still suspecting that the grey-robed old man was in cahoots with the black goat and the others. After all, the goal of the black goat and the others was the legendary ruins, and the grey-robed old man was also in the legendary ruins. Everything was too suspicious. Although from the looks of it, the black goat and the others had yet to achieve their goal, but what if the so-called goal was just something used to deceive them from the start? Perhaps one of them, the grey-robed old man, had already achieved his goal in the legendary ruins. That would mean that the situation being shown now was just an act for the Fox Nation. Chapter 703, The Third Beast Taming Talent, 3. Chapter 703, The Third Beast Taming Talent, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. However, no matter what the truth was, the fox god indeed didn't want to pursue it anymore. This was because in the dark right now, there was at least a spatial totem. It was the totem that had saved the spy just now. Regardless of whether this totem was with the black goat and the others, if there was a conflict with the black goat now, it would be extremely disadvantageous to the heavenly fox nation. That third party could easily benefit if they fought each other right now. The heavenly fox nation was not a strong totem country to begin with. Since there were not many losses this time, the fox god decided to ignore it. It was better to let the bootlickers deal with these guys in the future to avoid the heavenly fox nation becoming the main battlefield. In the distance, Dong Huang's group, Legend Ku, Legend Zhong, Jifeng, the butterfly god, and the others began to panic when they saw the changes happen one after another and saw that the black goat and Legend Baichuan were about to leave. Now, capturing Baichuan's mission level was definitely higher than bringing back the iron-eating beast and figuring out the truth of the ruins. They couldn't watch helplessly as the black goat and Legend Baichuan left. Follow. If necessary, we can only attack. The butterfly god sighed. It only hoped that when it and the gem cat fought this black goat, the fox god wouldn't help the black goat. Everyone aimed their sights at the departing black goat and Baichuan. At this moment, the first to not hold back and choose to attack were Shi Yu and the others. Because the ruined space had almost been repaired. Boom! The Black Goat and Bai Chuan, who had flown away, were already prepared for the possibility of the Heavenly Fox Nation stopping them. However, they didn't expect that the one who attacked wasn't the Fox God. It seemed to have come from the power in the legendary sealed space. Boom! A transcendent-level blue deterrence appeared out of thin air. The Black Goat that turned around and left frowned and also erupted with a shocking aura. The blue deterrence and the black deterrence swept into the sky, instantly making the sky change color. Boom! In the blink of an eye, a huge black and blue hole cracked in the sky. Through this huge hole, one could clearly see the starry sky and thousands of stars flickering. This scene instantly made the hearts of the Heavenly Fox Nation tremble. It also made the expressions of the Butterfly God and the others in the distance change. They realized that Shi Yu and the Gem Cat were the first to attack. Under the deterrence, Bai Chuan's expression instantly darkened. The 7 Overlord pets all appeared beside him and cooperated with the Black Goat to release deterrence. However, this deterrence was only a show of strength. The real killing move was the subsequent immobilization. Buzz! In an instant, everyone, including the Black Goat, Bai Chuan, and Bai Chuan's 7 Overlord-level pets, felt that they were frozen by a spatial power. Just as this power appeared, the expressions of Bai Chuan and the 7 Overlord pets changed drastically. This was because with their strength, they seemed to be completely unable to break free from this restraint. The Black Goat's expression also changed drastically. It felt that this binding power was difficult to deal with. This wave. As for the Fox God in the distance, it immediately determined that this wave not only had the fluctuations of the ruined space, but also the power fluctuations of the spatial totem that had just stolen the spy from its hands. At this moment, the Fox God was puzzled. What did this mean? That totem stopped the Black Goat and the others from leaving? Weren't they together? Wow, so fierce! In the distance, the Butterfly God was also shocked. Even from afar, it could feel the strength of this spatial immobilization. Even it might have to struggle to break free for a few seconds. Was this the move of the Gem Cat's sister? Was this the move of the Gem Cat's sister? However, the strength of this move didn't look like a fresh new totem no matter how one looked at it. In an instant, an ordinary totem plus 7 overlords plus a legendary beast tamer was frozen. From the expression of the Black Goat, this move was definitely very powerful. At this moment, in the legendary ruin space, the Gem Cat holding the legendary ruins black card was also very shocked. The enhancement of this ruin card to spatial seal type moves was so fierce. It felt that the effect of its skill had been increased by at least 50%. No wonder the spirit of the ruins could drag Shi Yu away without anyone noticing. Although it was distracted that time and had to focus on the Fox God, this ruined space was clearly a good thing. Damn it! I want it so much. In short, as expected of me. The Gem Cat looked at the totem and overlords it had frozen, its face quite pleased. However, the most important thing at this moment was not it, but Shi Yu. In the outside world, space ripples surged. Under the gazes of the Heavenly Fox Nation's Fox God, Holy Maiden, and many overlords, the Butterfly God, Legend Ku, and Ji Feng. A grey-robed old man appeared from the spatial ripples. He stood on a green dragon, and his figure instantly arrived, heading towards Bai Chuan. Seeing this grey-robed old man, the expression of the Fox God changed. Ji Feng and the others' expressions also changed. Their understanding of the grey-robed old man's identity was naturally different. However, at this moment, the grey-robed old man's actions made the pupils of all the lives present, including Black Goat, Bai Chuan, and the others, shrink. Hee, kid, you sent your pet to spy on us and want to run away. How can there be such a good thing? Pay up some interest. As Shi Yu smiled evilly, he flew over. He looked even more like a big villain than the Black Goat and Legend Bai Chuan, his entire body emitting an evil aura. Everyone's expressions were solemn and serious. Under the immobilization of an unknown power, the grey-robed old man riding the undead dragon instantly appeared beside Legend Bai Chuan. Then, he directly stretched out the old black hand wearing the talent bead bracelet and penetrated Legend Bai Chuan's heart. Chapter 704, The Third Beast Taming Talent, 4. Chapter 704, The Third Beast Taming Talent, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Because his fingers had been given hardening and spacequake elements, along with Shiyu's monarch-level dragon physique, this attack unsurprisingly made the frozen Bai Chuan's face turn pale. He was heavily injured. His face was filled with disbelief and found it difficult to accept. Sensing the heavy damage to his body, Legend Bai Chuan felt his life force flowing faster. Every contracted pet of his sensed that the beast tamer was in a very dangerous near-death state. Roar! Roar! Their eyes were red and their expressions were fierce, but their movements were restricted by the immobilization, unable to move. The Heavenly Fox Nation and the Black Goat were shocked by the grey-robed old man's actions. They froze a totem and 7 overlords in the air and directly came in front of the legendary beast tamer to complete the kill. Who exactly was this guy? This, the Fox God, who originally suspected that the grey-robed old man and the Black Goat were in cahoots, was stunned. This didn't look like they were in cahoots at all. From the looks of it, this grey-robed old man was an even more evil villain than the Black Goat and the others. He wanted to kill a beast tamer just because he was glanced at? Wait, the Butterfly God was also shocked. Didn't they say to keep him alive and investigate the memories of this legend of the 7 islands? What was Shiyu doing? At this moment, the one who knew best what Shiyu was doing was Legend Bai Chuan himself. His eyes were filled with darkness. He felt that not only was his life force flowing away, but his beast-taming talent and his control talent over his body were also starting to disappear. This feeling made Bai Chuan very afraid. He felt that all of this was related to the grey-robed old man in front of him. Plunder! After heavily injuring Legend Bai Chuan into a near-death state in one hit, Shiyu's expression was calm. The talent bead on his bracelet directly activated its strength and plundered Legend Bai Chuan's body control talent. At this moment, as the power of the beast-taming talent was plundered, Legend Bai Chuan's beast-taming space also collapsed. In an instant, his contractual relationship with the 7 pets was all broken. At that moment, Bai Chuan only had one breath left. Seeing this, the one who burned the most in anger was not Bai Chuan's 7 pets, but the Black Goat that was frozen at the side. Its current anger was even greater than when it saw the black meteorite yak die. The Yin race had spent a lot of effort to nurture a legendary beast tamer, especially a legendary beast tamer who was proficient in biological modification. Now, someone actually killed him under its nose. This scene caused a surge of huge anger, directly helping the Black Goat break free from the Gem Cat's spatial restraints. Roar! A terrifying black deterrence wave came from the Black Goat. Not good. In the legendary ruin space, the Gem Cat's expression changed. It immediately wanted to send Shiyu and the others back to the space. At this moment, Shiyu was already satisfied. He had completely achieved his goal. Talent bead, body control talent, plunder successful. It really succeeded. Not only that. Buzz! At the same time, in Shiyu's walking stick, Kai Tong, who had possessed the bone sword, also completed the final kill of Legend Bai Chuan from afar and imprisoned its undead spirit in the bone sword. This way, it could directly control its undead form and better investigate its memories through the undead. In an instant, a super legend that was ranked among the 7 islands died under the cooperation of the Gem Cat and Shiyu. However, at this moment, although both the plundering talent and capturing Bai Chuan were very smooth, the threat of the Black Goat also followed closely. Roar! The Black Goat's eyes seemed to have turned into black holes. Its mountain-like huge hoof swept at Shiyu. Just as he obtained his 3rd talent, Shiyu was about to face a totem attack. Chapter 705, Your Father Even Assessed Me. Chapter 705, Your Father Even Assessed Me. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. The huge hoof swept over. Facing the totem attack, Shiyu was extremely nervous. He waited for the Gem Cat's teleportation. At the very least, there should still be the protection of the dragon god. However, at this moment, what helped him block this attack was neither teleportation nor protection. The gem cat was just about to use the power of the ruins to teleport Shiyu when it nervously discovered that the spatial fluctuations here were instantly disturbed, causing its teleportation to fail. With its rich spatial experience, the gem cat understood that a powerful life form had teleported over. Its spatial abilities were even above it. Even if it borrowed the power of the ruins, it couldn't compare. As a spatial ripple appeared, a young man in luxurious clothes stepped out and appeared between the black goat and Shiyu. After he appeared, the black goat's attack directly stopped in midair. Then, a huge impact sent the black goat flying. Boom! With a shocked expression, the black goat's entire body was sent flying and hit the mountain peak below. In an instant, the mountain peak collapsed. Its body was swept into the smoke and completely buried. The young man in luxurious clothes looked at the black goat and then at the fox god in the distance. He also looked at the grey-robed old man who was digging out Bai Chuan's heart not far away and fell silent. At this moment, the most shocked were still the black goat and the fox god in the distance. When they saw this luxuriously dressed young man, their expressions were instantly filled with extreme fear. President Lin, of course, the most surprised were the butterfly god, Chu Ling, and the others. Seeing the president of the Dong Huang Association personally come, the butterfly god instantly heaved a sigh of relief. It knew that this mission was stable. There was nothing more reliable than this reinforcement. It's stable, it's stable. Although this guy looks young, he's already more than 100 years old. He's the strongest beast tamer alive in Dong Huang, a titled legendary. Moreover, he definitely has a bunch of backup plans. In the ruins, the gem cat was extremely excited and said to the stunned Ji Mengzhu. All right, it could slack off now. Lin Xiao. However, compared to the calmness of the butterfly god and the others, the nine-tailed fox of the heavenly fox nation had an extremely unfriendly expression. What is the meaning of this? Seeing the boss of the enemy faction come directly to their territory, anyone would be nervous. Lord Fox God, there's no need to be nervous. President Lin smiled and looked at the nine-tailed fox. I didn't come this time to destroy the heavenly fox nation. I'm just here to clean up. He looked at Bai Chuan and said, that person is a traitor of the 7 countries. And this goat is a totem that lured him into treason. After that, they even openly attacked Dong Huang's allies. Lord Heavenly Fox, you understand, right? Do you want to protect them, or are you also part of this? The fox god's expression changed and it stopped talking. You lured the humans of the 7-Nation Alliance to betray the country and even openly attack Dong Huang's allies. I believe you're already mentally prepared, right? President Lin chuckled. The rest of his words were said to the black goat in the mountain. Damn it! The black goat looked frightened. Of course, the current Bai Chuan no longer had any life aura, and the black goat only had one thought, escape. President Lin ignored the black goat and the fox god and looked at the grey-robed old man Shiyu had changed into. He said, Old man, can you hand that person to me? At this moment, looking at the confrontation between President Dong Huang and the grey-robed old man, the fox god and the black goat were completely confused. The fox god felt that the situation in its territory had become chaotic to a certain extent. It was impossible to tell who was who and who was in cahoots with the other. At this moment, President Lin naturally knew that the grey-robed old man was Shiyu, but regardless of whether others believed it on the surface, he still had to do it. Shiyu's expression changed. He directly threw Bai Chuan's corpse down and rode the dragon spirit to run. Dong Huang, who? I'll give you some face. At the same time, he left some harsh words. At the same time, the thing that scared the fox god and the black goat the most came. Does your Dong Huang want to start a war? The fox god looked at the flash in the sky and said with a drastic change in expression. As for the black goat, it looked at the flash in the sky and had an even stronger urge to escape. With a boom, it flipped its body and leaped 1,000 meters, but... However, the speed of this strong light completely exceeded the scope of the black goat's understanding. It shot from the edge of the Heavenly Fox Nation and instantly descended here. The Black Goat was indeed not easy to deal with. Even if it was a top-notch totem group fight, they would be injured by its radiation power. In order to reduce the damage, the best solution was to use cleansing forbidden weapons. This was the Heavenly Fox Nation. Dong Huang had no burden using forbidden weapons. "Don't worry, I won't let you die." President Lin looked at the Black Goat with a calm expression. "It's a forbidden weapon. Is it small, ordinary, or modified?" When Ji Feng and the others saw that even the forbidden weapon was here, they instantly understood that President Lin Xiao wasn't the only one who came. Perhaps there was still a titled legendary mechanic presiding behind. "Is that a forbidden weapon?" At this moment, in the legendary ruin space, Ji Mengzhu also sensed a huge energy wave that suddenly came from the sky. This energy wave was even stronger and more condensed than Baby Ginseng's self-destruction just now. Yeah. In the distance, Shi Yu, who was constantly fleeing, couldn't help but turn around. He knew that this trip to the Heavenly Fox Nation was over. This is a forbidden weapon. I wonder where it was fired from. Chapter 706, Your Father Even Assessed Me, 2. Chapter 706, Your Father Even Assessed Me, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. But it shouldn't be Dong Huang. Otherwise, it would probably cause chaos in the other totem countries. In the ruins, Ji Mengzhu said, "You mean that the attack range of the forbidden weapon is very far?" Of course, without any interception in the middle, it's completely no problem to shoot from one end of Blue Planet to the other. Ji Mengzhu's mouth opened slightly. She couldn't understand. She had never heard of a skill with such a long attack range. Shi Yu turned around. Sigh, although Baby Ginseng's self-destruction was useful, its agility was still a little lacking. It looked like he had to let Ling develop super long-range teleportation. At that time, even if they were in Dong Huang, they could instantly teleport Baby Ginseng to a totem country and accurately self-destruct. Then, Baby Ginseng would revive in the beast-taming space. The range would be true. No, at the same time, the forbidden weapon shot from half a country away accurately hit the Black Goat that wanted to escape crazily, causing the shocked Black Goat to be swallowed by the endless strong light. This forbidden weapon didn't cause a large-scale lethality. After accurately hitting the Black Goat, it directly wrapped its entire body in a huge ball of light. Right on the heels of that, a sound that resounded through the sky came from inside the light ball, causing the atmosphere to change with a bang. It also made the ground tremble violently, and a super earthquake occurred. As the cleansing-type forbidden weapon exploded on the Black Goat, the space here kept trembling. Space cracks appeared one after another. Sea Dragon King, Azure Dragon King, Divine Feather Phoenix Butterfly. Guardians of Dong Huang appeared from the spatial cracks and descended in the Heavenly Fox Nation. Their gazes locked onto Baichuan's Overlord-level pets and the Black Goat that had been hit by the forbidden weapon. Just leave it to them. These are Dong Huang's reinforcements. Shi Yu smiled. Shi Yu was not willing to deal with the matters in the Heavenly Fox Nation. After all, his identity as a grey-robed old man had caused too much trouble in the Heavenly Fox Nation, and it was not legitimate. On the other hand, now that the Dong Huang army had descended, there was a legitimate reason. Shi Yu ran crazily. Soon, they arrived in the distance and met Legend Ku, Legend Zhong, and Ji Feng. "Come up." Looking at the three of them, Shi Yu and the Gem Cat pulled the three of them into the ruined space without a word. At the same time, they didn't forget another mission, which was to bring back the iron-eating beast race. This mission was relatively simple. Following the change just now, the Overlord guarding the iron-eating beast race had long rushed over, leaving a group of iron-eating beasts trembling on the spot, crawling on the ground and not daring to move. During the process of slipping away, Shi Yu smoothly swept the iron-eating beasts back into the ruins. At the same time, after pulling them in, he directly let Buggy hypnotize them to sleep to relieve the pressure. The mission this time could be said to have been completed extremely smoothly. Moreover, there was an unexpected surprise. That was the third talent and the clue to the Yunnan race. At this moment, in the legendary ruin space, Ji Mengzhu looked at the iron-eating beast race that had been recovered and was overjoyed. At the same time, she looked at the two old men and a young man who had been brought in and felt gratified. These were the beast tamers of Dong Huang now, right? I'm so tired. In the ruined space, the gem cat cursed. Sorry to have made you suffer. As for Legend Zhong, a senior of the 10th Bureau, he looked at Chu Ling with emotion. It wasn't easy for this little girl either. She had come to the Totem Country to hide for several years in his 20s. How long had it been since she last went home? Moreover, she almost died just now. Is it Senior Zhong? Chu Ling said excitedly. It's me, little Ling. You can go home after this. Your father misses you very much. Ji Feng also smiled at his companion in the 10th Bureau. Chu Ling rubbed her red eyes and said, It's nothing. Thank you, seniors, for saving me. By the way. She looked at Shi Yu and said, I still don't know your identity, senior. Well, the spirit of the ruins, Ji Mengzhu, also discovered the blind spot. Although she had experienced so much, she didn't seem to know the name of this grey-robed old man. At the same time, she didn't know too much about the identities of these beast tamers from Dong Huang after 2,000 years. And this is, not only Shi Yu, but Chu Ling, Legend Ku, Legend Zhong, Ji Feng, and the others also didn't understand the identity of Ji Mengzhu's ruined spirit. But from the looks of it, she was indeed an ally, and she was related to the legendary ruins. Let me introduce you one by one. Shi Yu was also relaxed at this moment. He smiled and said, This is Ji Mengzhu, a senior from the Emperor Wu era. She's a legendary feeder of Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast core. In order to seal a totem of the Yun race, she transformed into the spirit of the ruins and protected the seal until now. Just now, I entered the legendary ruins and got to know this senior. As Shi Yu finished speaking, Chu Ling, Legend Ku, Ji Feng, and the others suddenly widened their eyes and looked at the spirit-body female general in shock. As for Ji Mengzhu, she also smiled and nodded. I'm just an ancient from the old era. If not for everyone's help, I might have died. She looked at Shi Yu. At this moment, she still didn't know Shi Yu's name. Old man, do tell me your name first. Among this group of people, Ji Mengzhu was the most grateful to Shi Yu. Yeah. Chu Ling was also rather grateful to Shi Yu and the gem cat. Old man? Chapter 707, Your Father Even Assessed Me, 3. Chapter 707, Your Father Even Assessed Me, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. At this moment, when they heard how they addressed Shi Yu, Ji Feng and the others had strange expressions. Although Shi Yu's current appearance was indeed that of an old man, he was indeed not an old man. Shi Yu also smiled and shook his head. Senior Ji, you're already a senior from 2,000 years ago. Don't call me old. This is just a disguise. I'm actually quite young. Not even 21 years old. At this moment, the gem cat had already brought the ruined space away from the battlefield. They were about to leave the Heavenly Fox Nation and were returning to Dong Huang. The matters here were left to President Lin and the others. There was no need for Shi Yu to hide his identity now. As the power of the time fruit disappeared, the color of Shi Yu's hair slowly darkened, and the wrinkles on his face gradually disappeared. His age immediately returned to his early 20s from his 60s or 70s. This change completely shocked Ji Mengzhu and Chu Ling. Especially Ji Mengzhu, who was so shocked that she couldn't say a word. She looked at Shi Yu, who had returned to his 20-year-old appearance, in silence. This. My name is Shi Yu. As Shi Yu finished speaking, Ji Mengzhu was completely speechless. She had seen Shi Yu's various moves just now. A level 6 beast tamer, annihilating a totem, controlling an overlord undead group, commanding a totem-level life form to freeze a totem and overlords, so that he could insta-kill a legend. If all of this was done by an experienced level 6 beast tamer, she could barely accept it with a shocked brain. But now, someone was telling her that the culprit of all of this was a 20-year-old young man? How was this possible? Even Emperor Wu didn't have such a terrifying battle result at this age. You. At that moment, Chu Ling also looked at Shi Yu in shock. Initially, she also thought that Shi Yu was a senior. After all, he could still team up with a totem in such a dangerous place. How could he not have some experience and reputation? However, when she saw Shi Yu return to his younger appearance and say that he was only 20 years old, Chu Ling was momentarily in a daze. She had also seen Shi Yu's performance just now. This guy is a freak, Ji Feng curled his lips and said. He felt that he had let Shi Yu settle this mission all by himself before he started doing anything. I can't believe it. At this moment, Ji Mengzhu still didn't react. She looked at Legend Ku and the others and said, "Don't tell me you guys are also. Could it be that these old people were also extremely young? In that case, her values would probably be further impacted." Legend Ku laughed and said, "How could that be? Shi Yu is an exception. Don't treat him as a normal person. He's the #1 person below the legend of Dong Huang now, the most talented archaeologist in Dong Huang. There's no need to be surprised, no need to be surprised. The #1 person below the legend level of Dong Huang." Chu Ling widened her eyes and looked at Shi Yu. After all, before she went abroad, Dong Huang didn't have such a title. No, before she went abroad, Shi Yu was probably not old enough to graduate from high school. What exactly happened in Dong Huang during this period? Being in a totem country, Chu Ling could be said to have no idea at all. At this moment, Shi Yu also smiled at Chu Ling and said something that made Chu Ling's face filled with question marks. "Master Chu Jie is your father, right? You indeed look identical. Speaking of which, my vocation assessment, intermediate assessment, advanced assessment, and even master assessment were all done with Master Chu Jie's help. After you go back, Miss Chu Ling, please greet Master Chu Jie for me." Chu Ling? Chapter 708, Lin Xiaoju's Portable Grandma, 1. Chapter 708, Lin Xiaoju's Portable Grandma, 1. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. At this moment, Chu Ling was a little stunned. The #1 person below the legend level of Dong Huang in front of her, a young man who looked very, very strong, actually passed the assessment done by his father. Was his father so powerful? Chu Ling was very shocked. At the same time, she was even more curious about Shi Yu. Really? However, at this moment, she was too embarrassed to ask Shi Yu more. She secretly decided that she had to ask her father more about Shi Yu when she returned. His father must have already discovered the other party's shining points in the assessment. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given the other party several assessments in a row. Yes. Shi Yu sighed slightly. Speaking of which, Master Chu Jie seemed to be the beast tamer who fought him the most, right? Shi Yu couldn't remember clearly. This is, Shi Yu quickly introduced Legend Ku and the others to Ji Mengzhu. Then, he said, "Everyone, let's chat first. I just captured the soul of that beast tamer. I'm going to search the memories to see if there's any important information." Everyone was silent. So he wasn't completely killed? The gem cat was also silent. Killing, stealing talents, and capturing souls made the cat very afraid. Shi Yu was becoming less and less like a good person. Oh, it was an accomplice, wasn't it? That was fine. So you still have a trump card. Legend Ku was shocked. He thought that Shi Yu had directly killed Legend Bai Chuan. Upon hearing that they could still squeeze information from Bai Chuan, both Legend Ku and Legend Zhong heaved a sigh of relief. It looked like Shi Yu was more prepared than they imagined. But this kid... The two legends had strange expressions. They felt that Shi Yu was not easy to deal with. "Do you need our help?" Legend Zhong said. "There's no need." Shi Yu smiled. Kai Tong and Buggy had already started searching. "Go and do it, then." Ji Mengzhu also nodded. There was no need to care about her. Shi Yu and the others' mission was the most important at the moment. The trip to the Heavenly Fox Nation was like a dream. Legend Ku and Ji Feng felt that they had yet to do anything. They were purely here to help. Legend Zhong played a key role and called for reinforcements through his teleportation talent. As for Chu Ling, she was also very important and provided a lot of important information. If the rewards were distributed according to merit after returning this time, it should be Shi Yu who did more than Chu Ling and Legend Zhong. After Shi Yu introduced these humans to Ji Mengzhu one by one, he quickly came to Buggy and Kai Tong and received Bai Chuan's memories. His memories were very important. Be it the information about the Yun race or the experience in using his physical control talent, they were all what Shi Yu needed. Xin Zhizhu. This was the full name of Legend Bai Chuan. His family background was very ordinary. He came from a small town, and his parents weren't beast tamers. His entire family worked together to let Legend Bai Chuan go to beast tamer school. However, because he came from a small place and had a weak childhood personality, Bai Chuan often encountered bullying in school. The bullying of his peers and the disregard of adults made Bai Chuan hate his society very much. The turning point was that in the year that Legend Bai Chuan awakened his talent was chosen by a passing mechanic and he was taken in as a student to nurture. If this mechanic was a normal person, nothing would naturally happen. However, luckily, this beast tamer was a mechanic cultivated by the Yun clan. Ever since the Yun race was destroyed in the Donghuang continent, there was only a small portion of power left. They hid and didn't come out until the outside world forgot about the Yun race. Only then did they appear again. The Meteor race was very smart and knew how to learn advanced powers. They spent many years successfully taking root in the Seven Islands area and planted many spies. It was hard to say if Bai Chuan was lucky or unlucky to have been chosen by them. Because in Bai Chuan's understanding, everything he had today was given to him by the Yun race. The Yun race treated him better than most humans did. Compared to the teachers in school, he trusted his master more. Slowly, his dream was also a dream to strengthen the Yun race, revive the king of the Yun race, Yunnan, and change this rotten world. So it wasn't the leader of the Ku Yuan Financial Group who betrayed the country, but the Yun race that cultivated the Ku Yuan Financial Group on the Seven Islands. Shi Yu was speechless. He knew it. Why would a legend-level beast tamer in charge of a super-large financial group take things too hard and rely on the totem clans? So he was originally cultivated by the totem clans. That was fine. In the end, it was still the Seven Island School's fault. The Yun race undoubtedly took a fancy to Bai Chuan's talent. For a life form at the demigod level, it was not difficult to change the aptitude of its subordinates and create tailored subordinates. Emperor Shi could tailor-make skills for the Frost Dragon, and Yunnan could use its own strength to personally modify the Yun clan. Even Buggy, Baby Ginseng, and Ling in Shi Yu's team had created mechanical phantom beasts. In Bai Chuan's memories, Yunnan's power was very domineering. Not every race was qualified to become a member of the Yun race. Therefore, the purpose of the Yun race nurturing Bai Chuan was obvious. They hoped that he could learn biological modification technology to increase the success rate of ordinary creatures transforming into the Yun race to strengthen the power of the Yun race. The body control talent was undoubtedly born for this. As for Bai Chuan, he was also very talented. From a professional, to a master, and to a legend. He grew all the way and established a research team and a company. With the support of the Yun clan, he grew bigger and bigger. In the end, he didn't disappoint and mastered his technology. Even the totem poison dragon that entered the sea area of Dragon Palace City was modified by Bai Chuan. Chapter 709, Lin Xiuzhu's Portable Grandma, 2. Chapter 709, Lin Xiuzhu's Portable Grandma, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. However, unfortunately, no one expected that an accident would happen in the modification experiment this time, allowing the sleeping poison dragon to escape. It even mutated into totem level during the escape, attracting the attention of Dragon Palace City. It could be said that it was from this accident that the Yun clan began to gradually withdraw their factions on the Seven Islands. They were worried that they would be exposed because of this and be targeted by the higher-ups of the Seven Islands. Before Yunnan revived, no matter how strong the Yun clan was, it couldn't be a match for the Seven Islands. It's actually a lab accident, Shi Yu complained weakly. Shi Yu knew everything that happened after that. Dragon Palace City and Dong Huang had attacked the Seven Islands because of the poison dragon totem. The Ku Yuan financial group was indeed, as the Yun clan had expected, completely exposed. Fortunately, the Yun clan had already completed the transfer of core assets. These memories were not too important. What concerned Shi Yu the most was that Legend Baichuan's memories provided two key clues. The king of the Yun race, Yunnan, was about to revive. The current headquarters of the Yun race was mainly in 3 mystic realms. Now, the Yun race had a total of 3 totems. One of them was a top-notch totem, while the other 2 were ordinary totems. The black goat was one of the ordinary totems. And this top-notch totem, like the black meteorite yak, was a totem from the Emperor Wu era. It was personally modified by Yunnan. After being nurtured, this Baichuan was already one of the core upper echelons of the Yun race below the 3 totems. F*CK, at this moment, Shi Yu was both excited and nervous. If it were a beast tamer from the Emperor Wu era who heard that Yunnan was about to revive, they would definitely tremble in fear. But now, when Yunnan was regarded as a iron-eating beast evolution resource, did it mean that he could take the initiative to attack? Although he had already obtained 10 meteorite fragments from Senior Ji Mengzhu, who would complain about having too many of them? However, the difficulty was that although Baichuan was already a core figure of the Yun clan who also knew the locations of the 3 Yun clan mystic realms, he didn't know where Yunnan would revive. In Baichuan's impression, only the top-notch totem personally modified by Yunnan knew this. Shi Yu fell silent. Therefore, Dong Huang's next strategic goal should be confirmed. It was to use this information to destroy the 3 mystic realms of the Yun clan first. If possible, it was best to learn the revival location of Yunnan from that top-notch totem. Next, what I have to do is organize the memories of Baichuan's undead form into memory crystals. I'll hand its undead and memory crystals to Dong Huang. Then, wait for the national machine to activate and wait for the resources to be transferred to the account at home. Shi Yu immediately knew his position in this segment. As for personally going to the Yun family mystic realm to raid the bases? Capture Yunnan? Forget it, even if there was a big boss leading the team, he wasn't interested. He felt that it was a little dangerous. It was already his limit to bully the weakest totem country, the Heavenly Fox Nation. No, who said that the Fox God was weak? Who said that the Fox God was only comparable to the Gem Cat? The Fox God was clearly a top-notch totem that pretended to be a lamb-to-eat-a tiger. It was true that they were a little cowardly like the Gem Cat, but they were definitely not weak. If they faced the Fox God head-on, they might have been dead by now. It seemed to be what President Lin said. As he organized Baichuan's memories, Shi Yu also organized his experience in using the body control talent. This talent had many uses. For example, it could be used to assist in modifying creatures. The effect was very good, such as helping pets better control skills and special energy. The effect was also very good. It could also train one's physique and mental strength through physical control. Baichuan had developed various skills. Among them, the most attractive and useful thing for Shi Yu was to control his physical strength through the body control talent. Shi Yu was nervous. He only had 1 talent bead. It could be said that he had bet all his assets on this body control talent. If it couldn't help him develop the telepathy talent to a very powerful level, it would be a huge loss. While Shi Yu was busy receiving information, Legend Ku and the others also began to chat freely. They surrounded Senior Ji Mengzhu. This was the living history of ancient people from 2,000 years ago. If they asked her, they would definitely know a lot about the Emperor Wu dynasty. Even Shi Yu thought so. Although he didn't obtain other inscription metals from Ji Mengzhu, he should be able to understand what skills those metals could bring, right? However, Shi Yu was not in a hurry to ask. There was plenty of time later. He would let Ji Mengzhu, Legend Ku, and the others talk freely first, while he was in charge of more important information. After all, this was the key to him joining the 10th Bureau's Intelligence Bureau. As they chatted, Chu Ling and Ji Mengzhu had some understanding of Dong Huang's current situation. they understood Dong Huang's current situation through Shi Yu. At the moment, Dong Huang in the Seven Nation Alliance was preparing for the World Tournament, and the contestants of the World Tournament were selected through the sequence method. Among them, Shi Yu was 5th in the sequence, the number 1 person below the legendary level, and Ji Feng was 7th in the sequence. Ji Mengzhu even understood Shi Yu's terrifying achievements. He was born from a grassroots family. In the first year of becoming a beast tamer, he successfully cracked the ancient ruins and obtained the top scholar of the ancient capital vocation assessment, with his results suppressing those of a legend's child. Later on, he even discovered the lost iron-eating beast evolution path, cultivated overlord species pets, and developed the green silkworm cocoon evolution system that benefited the country and the people. Chapter 710, Lin Xiuju's Portable Grandma, 3. Chapter 710, Lin Xiuju's Portable Grandma, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. National Champion, Mechanical Phantom Beast, fighting Kong Emperor's secondary pet, and the number 1 person below the legendary level. Shi Yu's achievements stunned Ji Mengzhu and Chu Ling. After all of this happened in 2 years. Chu Ling finally knew why she had never heard of Shi Yu before she came to be a spy. This was because Shi Yu's legend path had only taken 2 years. Shi Yu, genius archaeologist, discovered the lost iron-eating beast's evolution path. At this moment, Senior Ji Mengzhu had a strange expression. Shi Yu's growth experience undoubtedly shocked her. This kind of growth experience could even be said to be legendary. However, what concerned her the most at this moment was if Shi Yu had bragged about himself in third person when he was using the old man persona to communicate with her. At this moment, Chu Ling and the others also learned more about Ji Mengzhu's identity. Ji Mengzhu's ancestors had cultivated iron-eating beasts for generations. Among them, Ji Mengzhu's father was even the number 1 general under Emperor Wu, the strongest expert of the iron-eating beast tribe. As for Ji Mengzhu and her mother, they were both legendary feeders in charge of the feeding of Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast core. It could be said that Ji Mengzhu's father was a figure like Emperor Wu's right-hand man. He was a brother and comrade who had gone through life and death together. Therefore, Ji Mengzhu knew a lot of information about Uncle Emperor Wu. Cat, how long until we reach Dong Huang? As everyone was chatting, Shi Yu suddenly ran over and asked the gem cat clone that was eating melons in the ruins. The gem cat raised its head lazily and said, "Soon, soon." Shi Yu nodded and said, "Accelerate, accelerate. There's important information. Yunnan is about to revive. The country has to enter a battle state quickly." "What?" Just as Shi Yu finished speaking, Senior Ji Mengzhu's expression changed. She said, "The Yun race is so active. I knew something was wrong. Half-god-level elemental life forms are indeed not that easy to kill. We'll deal with it when the time comes. Senior Ji, there's no need to be so pessimistic. After the Emperor Wu dynasty, Dong Huang has experienced too many difficulties. So be it if Yunnan comes. No matter what disaster we encounter now, Dong Huang can be confident enough to deal with it," Shi Yu said. Almost every legendary left a lot for Dong Huang. For example, the recent 2 legendaries, the pile of pets left behind by Lin Feng, were all at the totem level, the guardians of Dong Huang. The pile of forbidden weapons left behind by the mechanical legendary was Dong Huang's greatest capital at the moment. In the distant future, in the era of the Dragon Emperor, the friendship left behind by the Dragon Emperor with Dragon Palace City still affected Dong Huang. It was the key factor in Dong Huang's overall strength as the strongest country. Generations of beast tamers had left behind a lot of things. Compared to the era of Emperor Wu, the current Dong Huang had already accumulated an additional 2,000 years of heritage. Even when facing a totem king like Yunnan, it wouldn't be as desperate as in ancient times. If one wanted the current Dong Huang to be in turmoil, one might have to wait for a mythical threat to descend. "Can I do something?" Ji Mengzhu said. "As the spirit of the ruins, in my awakened state, it's not a problem for my spiritual body to be active for another few decades. Is there anything I can help with?" "That's easy. Senior Ji, after you return to Dong Huang, why don't you still do your old job and nurture iron-eating beasts?" Shi Yu smiled. The others also nodded. Yes, Ji Mengzhu was a legendary feeder who nurtured the Iron-Eating Beast Corps for Emperor Wu, and the Iron-Eating Beast Corps could now be confirmed to be the strongest army of Emperor Wu dynasty. In fact, Ji Mengzhu had even told everyone just now that her father was in charge of leading the Iron-Eating Beast Corps and even had a battle record of killing totems. If such an army revived in the modern era, it would definitely increase Dong Huang's strength greatly. All right. Ji Mengzhu nodded. Indeed, this was the most suitable for her. She said, "Leave the 108 iron-eating beasts just now to me to nurture." Previously, the Gem Cat and Shi Yu had brought in a total of 108 iron-eating beasts. There weren't many, but there were also quite a lot. The batch Ji Mengzhu and the others brought out to escape should be elite. Each of them had reached perfect level hardening proficiency. They should have received very careful cultivation very early on and was only a step away from evolution. If they continued to nurture it, they could pull up a 9-li army the size of 100 bears in a very short period of time. No problem. Shi Yu smiled. At that time, be it Senior Ji or this group of iron-eating beasts, they had to be pulled into the Iron-Eating Beast Corps under his command. Senior Ji, is Yunnan very strong? Have you seen Yunnan? At this moment, Chu Ling looked at Ji Mengzhu. She was also very concerned about Yunnan. After all, ever since Shi Yu came out of Emperor Wu ruins, Chu Ling had an additional mission, which was to investigate Yunnan's information in the totem country. Very strong. Ji Mengzhu looked at her. Yunnan has mastered a quasi-divine skill, which can also be said to be a prototype divine skill. No one can defeat him at all. Lord Emperor Wu contracted a total of 9 totem-level pets. Some of the pets even reached top-notch totem battle power. And Lord Emperor Wu's top-notch fusion talent can allow him to inherit the merits of the 9 pets alone. Even so, after several years of battle, the first to not be able to hold on was Lord Emperor Wu. In many battles, Yunnan relied on his racial advantage to survive, but Lord Emperor Wu was one step ahead of his pets and couldn't hold on anymore. Chapter 711, Lin Xiaoju's Portable Grandma, 4. Chapter 711, Lin Xiaoju's Portable Grandma, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. This is all because of the quasi-divine skill mastered by Yunnan. Ji Mengzhu told Legend Ku and the others about the situation in disappointment. Yes, I heard it from Senior Zhongxian, Shi Yu said. Can't Senior Emperor Wu fuse with the 9 totems? Ji Feng's expression was solemn. Ji Mengzhu shook her head and said, although Lord Emperor Wu can mobilize the power of multiple totems to suppress Yunnan through his top-notch fusion talent, in the face of a quasi-divine skill, he won't be able to gain much advantage after battle. The quasi-divine skill has already come into contact with the power of the natural order, and the damage caused by the power of the natural order, even if one were to use mythical medicine, is very difficult to heal if the attributes don't match. Yunnan's skill brings with it an incurable radiation injury that cannot be cleansed. Quasi-divine skill. That super skill's cultivated to the extreme, right? Legend Ku muttered. Even a legend like him had actually never come into contact with this level. After all, the only life form Dong Huang could come into contact with that had mastered the prototype of a divine skill was the Dragon God. Apart from Shi Yu, only President Lin and the mechanical legendary could come into contact with the Dragon God. Even for an expert like the tyrannical sea legend, it was very difficult. Unlike Ji Mengzhu, her father had even participated in a battle with Yunnan, so she knew very much about this. Yeah. But according to Lord Emperor Wu, there are 3 conditions. When a super skill is cultivated to the extreme, it's just one of them. Every one of these 3 conditions is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Even a legendary beast tamer like Lord Emperor Wu will find it very difficult to achieve. This is only a quasi-divine skill, let alone that unreachable mythical domain and complete divine skill. Thinking of Emperor Wu's lonely expression at that time, Ji Mengzhu felt very uncomfortable. Let me tell everyone. The first is to cultivate super skills to the extreme. This difficulty is said to be 10 times harder for an ordinary pet to cultivate itself to the totem level through super skills. Jifeng, Chu Ling, and the others were speechless. When super skills reached perfection, they would be at the totem level. This difficulty stuck most of the beast tamers now. There were less than 10 legendary beast tamers on Blue Planet who could personally nurture a pet to the totem level. And the difficulty of cultivating a quasi-divine skill was 10 times higher than this. Senior G, what about the other methods? Jifeng couldn't help but ask. This was a good opportunity to broaden his horizons. This time, he didn't come for nothing. Even the gem cat, a totem, couldn't help but turn its head and listen. Lord Emperor Wu said that the second method is to rely on the bloodline inheritance. If the parents of a pet are a mythical race, there's a chance that it will have its own quasi-divine skill after birth, which is the prototype of a divine skill. As it grows and trains this skill will naturally become a complete divine skill, helping it cross to the mythical level. Therefore, a mythical creature cub might have its own quasi-divine skill. However, if it's already so difficult for overlords to reproduce, it should be even harder for mythical creatures, Ji Mengzhu said. Has Lord Emperor Wu seen mythical creatures and young divine beasts? Chu Ling said in surprise. Ji Mengzhu shook her head. I don't know either, but that's what Lord Emperor Wu said. The third method is said to be a combination. Since it's very difficult to rely on one skill to master a quasi-divine skill, and there's not enough time to develop a skill to the extreme, one can rely on 2, 3, 4, or even more super skills, more special power, and even the power of a beast tamer to form a powerful combination skill. It's enough to touch the combination skill of the rules and optimize it to become a quasi-divine skill. But in Lord Emperor Wu's words, this isn't necessarily easier than the first method. You need peerless talent and rely on talent to smooth out the time. If it succeeds, that life form can already be called a mythical race. Like a demigod-level life form, like a divine beast cub, it has the foundation to grow to the mythical level. Shiyu said, can you be called a mythical race just by mastering a quasi-divine skill? You don't have to master a divine skill? Ji Mengzhu said, a quasi-divine skill is the prototype of a divine skill. It has the potential to grow into a complete divine skill. Apart from the skill level, divine skills also represent strength. Apart from mythical races, life forms who have mastered a complete divine skill can already be called mythical. And creatures who have mastered quasi-divine skills are only mythical races, not mythical level. Chu Ling said, wait a minute, if the first method is to cultivate a quasi-divine skill, its battle power will definitely be at the demigod level. Then the second and third methods don't sound like there's a requirement for strength. It can be completed at any level? Ji Mengzhu smiled and said, probably. The second method requires a natural mythical race. Even if it's the son of a divine beast, there shouldn't be a reason for it to be born at the mythical level. Perhaps it also has to experience the growth levels of monarchs and overlords. As for the third method, although it sounds like there's hope of developing and combining quasi-divine skills at any level, it's not that simple. Only at the totem level can transcendent life forms' development of skills be considered initial. And if a totem-level creature cultivates a quasi-divine skill, its strength will naturally be at the demigod level. Ordinary totems, top-notch totems, and totem half-gods were all at the totem level. The three were not realms, but the division of battle power. Everyone instantly understood Ji Mengzhu's meaning. Having a quasi-divine skill was basically demigod-level battle power. And if one wanted to have a quasi-divine skill at the monarch and overlord levels, they might have to be a cub of a mythical creature. It was very difficult to complete after birth. Chapter 712, Lin Xiaozhu's Portable Grandma, 5. Chapter 712, Lin Xiaozhu's Portable Grandma, 5. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. However, young people like Jifeng and Chu Ling still had fantasies. Although Ji Mengzhu said that there was only a small chance to develop quasi-divine skills only at the totem level, it didn't stop them from imagining it. If a monarch-level pet mastered a quasi-divine skill, how strong would it be? The description would be mythical race, monarch level. Could it fight weaker totems 2 levels higher? If not, what about mythical race, overlord level? There shouldn't be a problem, right? After all, the tyrannical sea legend's giant Leviathan wasn't a mythical race yet. It could already fight a totem level twice. Quasi-divine skill, mythical race. In an instant, Ji Feng's expectations were extremely high. However, he also understood that he could only think about it. After all, it was said that none of even Lin Feng's pets had reached the mythical race. At the side, Shi Yu fell into deep thought. Of course, Lord Emperor Wu told my father about this. Then, my father told me. I don't know the accuracy of this information either. After all, no one has really experienced the mythical domain, Ji Mengzhu said. Then is there anything special about quasi-divine skills compared to super skills? Chu Ling asked. Of course. The strongest thing about divine skills, according to Lord Emperor Wu, is that they have already mastered laws and origin power. Among them, quasi-divine skills are the stage where they first come into contact with laws. For example, Yunan's quasi-divine skills are known as incurable injuries because they have reached this level. If one doesn't master corresponding abilities of the same level, they can't resist. Actually, my father has seen the battle between Emperor Wu and Yunnan. He said that that's not a battle that other low-level life forms can interfere in at all. In the battle, Yunnan, who has mastered a quasi-divine skill, forms a world of its own with phenomena around him. Any power around it is completely suppressed, including the power of nature and the power of space. This is a higher-level method than borrowing the power of nature. It can be said that once a quasi-divine skill is released, it can suppress all the surrounding powers that are not of the same level. All life forms who see a quasi-divine skill will have their bloodline tremble if they don't master the same power. It's like a transcendent-level iron-eating beast facing the deterrence of a monarch-level royal iron-eating beast. It will feel like its bloodline is being suppressed. This is the difference between a myth and a non-myth. It's an insurmountable difference. Therefore, it's really impressive that Lord Emperor Wu could suppress Yunnan and even kill it, Ji Mengzhu said. Everyone quietly listened to Ji Mengzhu, who had personally experienced the totem battle, explain. They understood the power of a demigod again and the power of a legendary beast tamer. Even if it was such a Yunnan, Emperor Wu could suppress it. Unfortunately, Emperor Wu didn't have the ability to remove the other party's law power. Otherwise, the historical direction might be new. At the same time, Ji Feng, Chu Ling, and the other Dong Huang geniuses were also curious. The current dragon god, who had always been on good terms with Dong Huang, was also at the demigod level. They wondered how its strength was compared to Yunnan and what kind of power it had. According to Emperor Wu, a half-god like the dragon god and a half-god like Yunnan could be considered a mythical race. Shi Yu thought that they were at most experts who had evolved to the extreme of the quasi-mythical race. Well, why do I feel that Ji Mengzhu's father isn't very reliable? I should ask the dragon god another day, Shi Yu muttered in his heart. Ah, right, but the dragon god seemed to have also said that the world tree could be considered a mythical race, but it wasn't at the mythical level. It was only the strongest demigod. In that case, it was really possible that demigods could be considered mythical races? However, when they thought about it, the demigods didn't care about this racial title anymore. They were probably more concerned about when their growth level could break through to the mythical stage, and not what the racial level represented their potential. After a long time, the gem cat said, "We're at Dong Huang." After arriving at Dong Huang, no one relaxed. Next, they still had to continue working on this mission. Everyone first went to the headquarters of the 10th Bureau. As it concerned a demigod-level life form that threatened Dong Huang, Shi Yu also ran around with them. He didn't find it troublesome, but with the cat car, it really wasn't much trouble. Fortunately, President Lin and the others also returned that day to preside over the overall situation. The black goat totem was undoubtedly captured alive. Of course, in the current state of the black goat, to put it nicely, it was captured alive. To put it bluntly, it was not dead. As for the black goat totem, it naturally couldn't be imprisoned in Dong Huang. It was directly transported to the deep-sea prison of Dragon Palace City by the Sea Dragon King and the others. Only here could the totem be suppressed. The poison dragon totem was also locked here. Dong Huang didn't have to make payment for using the underwater prison of Dragon Palace City. As long as the immortal Dragon King didn't die after purification, the goat legs and lamb chop were for the Dragon Kings to eat as they pleased. In any case, the key was the information about the Yun race in the goat brain. In fact, President Lin still had a lot to say to Shi Yu and Ji Mengzhu about the black meteorite yak. He wanted to ask Shi Yu how he dared to blow up a top-notch totem, even if it was weak. However, at this moment, because he still had many more important things to deal with, he didn't have the time to care about Shi Yu. After chatting for a while, Shi Yu was completely liberated. He brought Senior Ji Mengzhu to Wuling City, where the ruins of the iron-eating beast core were. "Aren't you going to deal with Yunnan?" Seeing Shi Yu slip away from the headquarters of the Dong Huang Association without any reluctance, Senior Ji Mengzhu, who was in the ruins, said. Chapter 713, Lin Xiuju's Portable Grandma, 6. Chapter 713, Lin Xiuju's Portable Grandma, 6. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. Shi Yu said, "Senior, I'm only a level 6 beast tamer. I'm not even at the legend level." Ji Mengzhu. So this guy still knew that he was a level 6 beast tamer? That wasn't what the totem corpse lying in the ruins thought. Shi Yu smiled bitterly, thinking that he really wasn't free. Although Yunnan was important, it was more important to seriously add points. Because he had heard Ji Mengzhu's words previously, Shi Yu was even more concerned about the skill indexes, technique fusion, function. After Ji Mengzhu mentioned the 3 conditions of the prototype of the divine skill, Shi Yu realized that training super skills to Dao proficiency was not the only condition to reach the prototype of a divine skill. It could also be done by relying on multiple super skills to form a perfect combination skill. She should have said so earlier. Technique fusion could directly fuse the 2 skills into one skill. Was there a more perfect combination method than this? In other words, through technique fusion, continuously fusing super skills could develop quasi-divine skills. And a pet that had mastered a quasi-divine skill was a mythical race. In other words, the function of technique fusion was the key to making 11 and the others a mythical race. In that case, it was even more necessary to obtain the blessings of the world tree. Shi Yu definitely couldn't activate super racial skills above the transcendent level. His beast taming level was too low, so he couldn't support 11 and the others to break through to the totem level. This had to be done in the level 9 beast taming space. Even if he contracted above his level, it would have to be at level 8, and he was only at level 6. However, if 11 and the others could have quasi-divine skills at the overlord level and become mythical races, it didn't seem bad. They might be able to fight totems. Regardless of the preparation of the ancient information Ji Mengzhu mentioned, he believed it for the time being. He immediately became full of motivation. How could he solve his worries? The only way was to increase points. After dealing with Ji Mengzhu, Shi Yu decided to go back and start a new round of points. Apart from that, the development of telepathy and the research of superalloy required time. As for when he would go to Tingxiang and Rongguang to unlock the last 2/4 progress of the Space Beast Egg, he definitely had to wait for baby ginseng to condense another time mark and for the situation on Dong Huang's side to stabilize. Otherwise, he would probably only have the gem cat as a bodyguard again. He didn't feel safe. Tingxiang and Rongguang were a little special. If they were prepared for the worst, these 2 countries were even more dangerous than the 11 totem countries around Dong Huang and the 7 islands. In the east, due to the powerful strength of Dong Huang and Dragon Palace City, there were currently no demigod-level factions on land and in the sea, but for other countries, there were actually demigod-level factions eyeing them covetously. In the Dark Night Forest outside Tingxiang, there was a demigod-level Dark Elven Empress who had always been at odds with the mixed-blood Elven Empress of Tingxiang. The Demon Kingdom outside Rongguang was the greatest enemy of Rongguang. Both parties were in small-scale battles all year round. The leader of the Demon Kingdom was also a demigod. The Dragon Empire in the west, the Snow Land in the north. There were demigod-level lives, even the Abyss Sea and the Endless Sea territory. It could be said that if it weren't for the fact that there were still so many demigod-level factions outside the 7 countries, the 7 countries with mechanic advantages would have long swept through the world. From this point, the 7 islands were actually considered lucky. Their geographical location was not bad. Because of the existence of Dragon Palace City and Dong Huang, there were no powerful demigod-level totem factions eyeing them covetously. Senior, does this place feel familiar? Shi Yu stood on the tall building and asked Ji Mengzhu. Ji Mengzhu said, I'm no longer familiar with it. 2,000 years have already passed. Everything has changed. The world has changed. I'm afraid I still have to adapt to the current Dong Huang for a long time. Be it buildings, transport, or culture. Shi Yu smiled. There's plenty of time. The iron-eating beast ruins where Zhongxian is located is here. By the way, I still have someone to introduce to you. Who? Upon hearing that Shi Yu had brought her to the iron-eating beast core training ruins, Ji Mengzhu's expression was filled with anticipation. However, Ji Mengzhu was a little puzzled about the people Shi Yu had always said he wanted to introduce to her. She didn't understand why this kid was so excited. Who was it? Could it be that Zhongxian wasn't dead yet? Ji Mengzhu kept guessing. In the ruins of Wuling City. At the moment, this place had already been used as the training venue for the Iron-Eating Beast Corps, Green Silkworm Cocoon Corps, and a Machinery Beast Corps. As the new army tournament approached, these armies trained even harder in order to fight for military funds. You are, at the entrance of the ruins in Wuling City, the expression of the beast tamer in charge of guarding the door changed when he saw Shi Yu. Shi Yu smiled, indicating that there was no need to make a fuss. After showing his identification, he directly entered the ruins. After he entered the ruins, Ji Mengzhu's figure immediately appeared beside him. As expected, it's still the same, Ji Mengzhu said happily. I have good news for you. Shi Yu was stunned for a moment before saying, what good news? Wait, Senior Ji, why did you come out of the sealed ruins? Shi Yu was slightly stunned. Wasn't Ji Mengzhu the spirit of the ruins in the legendary ruins? Previously, she had sensed the outside world in the ruins, so why? Ji Mengzhu said, this is the good news I want to talk about. Didn't I tell you before that I participated in the modification of this ruin? Yeah. My authority over the ruins is still there. Give me some time. I can also become the spirit of the ruins in this ruin. Didn't you say that the Iron-Eating Beast Corps is currently training here? After I become the spirit of the ruins in this ruin, I can better control those training facilities. Chapter 714, Lin Xiaoju's Portable Grandma, 7. Chapter 714, Lin Xiaoju's Portable Grandma, 7. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. Ji Mengzhu looked at Shi Yu and said, after completing the transfer, I'll give you the legendary ruins I'm staying in now. Although there's no ceiling effect, as a spatial equipment, it's not bad as a cultivation place. You should encounter a lot of danger in the future. It's safer to bring such a high-level ruin. This is a treasure left to me by my father. I'll leave the rest to you. It's also to thank you for dealing with the black meteorite yak. Shi Yu was stunned. Although he had always wanted a legendary ruin, Ji Mengzhu's sealed ruin as the spirit of the ruin clearly wasn't suitable to carry with him because of its spirit, but now, the other party actually said that she could transfer it. Moreover, the legendary ruin could be given to him. This isn't appropriate, right? However, Shi Yu was still relatively shy. Such a precious thing? However, afraid that Senior Ji would regret it, Shi Yu said again, since it's Senior's good intentions, I'll accept it respectfully. After all, the Gem Cat seemed to like this ruin quite a lot. There would be more safety guarantees in the future. Ji Mengzhu. Shi Yu was excited. Although the legendary ruins no longer had any special ceiling effect, compared to the high-level ruin that Senior Lu had cracked, which he was using now, it was clearly better. However, he had just moved less than 2 months ago and he had to move again. It was so tiring. He decided to forget it and just move. But in that case, he seemed to have 4 ruins. There seemed to be too many. It was useless to have so many. He would hand 2 over later and return the ruined stone to Senior G. All right, who did you say you were bringing me to see? Shiyu said, don't worry, Buggy, instant transmission. Looking for 11's big sister. Shiyu directly summoned Buggy. Woo! Even the number 1 in the team couldn't escape the fate of the tool worm. Iron-eating beast core camp. The chief feeder, Lin Xiaoju, had not even left the ruins for a long time. If there was nothing else, her food, drink, and accommodation were basically completed in the ruins. Shiyu had given her so many resources. She couldn't disappoint Shiyu's expectations no matter what. She had to nurture the iron-eating beast core into the strongest army. In the room, Lin Xiaoju was doing the cultivation plan of the iron-eating beast core. She had the data of every iron-eating beast tamer in the iron-eating beast core. Knock, knock, knock. Please come in, Lin Xiaoju said, and looked out the door. With a look, her expression was slightly stunned. She saw a woman who looked even more like her than her mother walk in and look at her. To be honest, Lin Xiaoju had lived for so long. Even when Shiyu and 11 created miracles in succession, she had never been so stunned. Similarly, Ji Mengzhu, who had been instigated by Shiyu, also saw this girl and fell silent for a moment. Obviously. The 2 of them realized that the other party looked very much like them. Ha ha. Just as the 2 of them were very stunned, Shiyu laughed and followed Buggy in. At this moment, when he saw Shiyu, Lin Xiaoju, who was wearing a black and white military uniform, was stunned. She kept looking at Shiyu, Buggy, and the mature woman version of herself and finally discovered the problem. Then, she revealed an angry blush and said, Shiyu, you're too much. Hurry up and get Buggy to remove the illusion. Lin Xiaoju quickly realized that this mature version of herself didn't look like a real person. After seeing Shiyu and Buggy, he directly determined that Shiyu had made Buggy use illusions. Wait. Shiyu was also stunned. He understood that Senior Panda must have misunderstood something. He hurriedly said, what does it have to do with Buggy? Woo! Buggy also felt very innocent. Ji Mengzhu looked at Lin Xiaoju and smiled. She gradually understood and said, little girl, does your family have a family tree record? Lin Xiaoju? Shiyu said, Senior Ji was a legendary feeder during the era of Emperor Wu Dynasty 2,000 years ago. At that time, she was also in charge of the feeding of Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast core. You think I'm very similar to this little girl, so you think she's a descendant of my race, right? Ji Mengzhu said. I do feel a bloodline connection. Interesting. Lin Xiaoju? At this moment, Lin Xiaoju was a little panicked. The pen in her hand remained in midair. What? Chapter 7:15, The Hopeful Panda Senior. Chapter 7:15, The Hopeful Panda Senior. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. That's what happened. After arriving at Senior Panda's office, Shiyu pulled out a chair and sat opposite her, explaining the mission experience to her. For things like fighting the fox god, blowing up totems, and catching legends, Shiyu chose to omit them, afraid that he would scare Senior Panda. He mainly explained Senior Ji Menghu's background to Senior Panda. After Shiyu finished speaking, Lin Xiaoju's entire face was still stunned. On the other hand, Ji Mengzhu quickly accepted this setting. She looked at the various iron-eating beast-related models, ink paintings, and felt very emotional. Although 2,000 years had passed, the iron-eating beast tribe still didn't separate from the iron-eating beast. Very good. It seemed that the other clansmen who hid from the war were very lucky to have passed it down. You, in that case, are you really my ancestor? At this moment, Lin Xiaoju felt that it was ridiculous. She knew that Shiyu was very powerful. Even if Shiyu cracked some mythical ruins one day, Lin Xiaoju would not be surprised at all. However, Shiyu actually ran over and said that he would get an ancestor for herself. This kind of thing would stun anyone. Before Shiyu explained, she almost thought that Shiyu had gone to dig up the Lin family's ancestral grave. But speaking of which, her ancestor was actually the iron-eating beast general under Emperor Wu. Titled Legend Expert? During the era of Emperor Wu dynasty, he was a beast tamer whose strength was only inferior to Emperor Wu. Senior Panda couldn't believe it. According to Lin Xiaoju's understanding of Shiyu, the other party shouldn't lie to her. She imagined that Shiyu might have wronged Shiyu for letting Buggy transform into a mature version of herself to tease her. Perhaps. Ji Mengzhu was very happy at this moment. She didn't expect to see a descendant of her own race apart from the iron-eating beast. She looked at Lin Xiaoju and said, "But it's not important anymore. I heard from Shiyu that your name is Lin Xiaoju, right?" "Yes, Senior Ji." Lin Xiaoju nodded hard. "How old are you? What's your beast taming level? What's the iron-eating beast's level?" Lin Xiaoju said in embarrassment, 25 years old, beast tamer level 5, iron-eating beast. It's still commander rank at the moment. It was indeed a little low. At the thought that her ancestor was the #1 general under Emperor Wu, and had to see her family had become like this, Senior Panda was a little nervous. Sigh. After hearing that, Ji Mengzhu sighed slightly. She had already expected this situation just now. What she learned was that the iron-eating beast only rose after Shiyu discovered the iron-eating beast's evolution path 2 years ago. During this period, the iron-eating beasts were only ordinary middle-level transcendent races that had only mastered hardening. Although the iron-eating beast race wasn't completely extinct, the inheritance was almost broken. In this situation, the descendants of the iron-eating beast clan's beast tamer wouldn't be too strong if they were in charge of pets of a transcendent race. She looked at Shiyu and could imagine that it was all thanks to Shiyu's that Lin Xiaoju and even the iron-eating beast could have such a status in Donghuang. It's not too late at 25. She looked at Lin Xiaoju and said, "From today onwards, I'll guide your cultivation and guide you in cultivating iron-eating beasts. In the next period of time, I'll teach you all my experience." Lin Xiaoju was slightly stunned. "Do you want to guide me in cultivation? But I'm very stupid." Shiyu was speechless. If she was stupid, how would others survive? Senior Panda was talented. If not for Shiyu, Senior Panda would be the #1 genius in Pingcheng. Ever since she became a beast tamer, Senior Panda had displayed pretty good talent. However, in order to study the evolution of the iron-eating beast, she didn't put her mind on increasing her strength. But even so, it was already extraordinary to be able to become a master at this age. Moreover, Lin Xiaoju's cultivation talent was also maxed out. Not only did she develop the giant transformation teaching manual that allowed the iron-eating beast to master the giant transformation before it evolved, but she also developed the nurturing technique to increase the iron-eating beast's hardening proficiency. It could be said that she was much stronger than Hall Master Lin Hongnian. After all, Lin Hongnian had only developed Thunder Palm and Cannon Fist. How could she say that she didn't have talent? No, you're very talented. A cultivation form written by Senior Panda appeared in Ji Mengzhu's hand at some point in time. She smiled and said, "Next, I'll do my best to let you become a legend-level beast tamer before the age of 30. Legend? Lin Xiaoju was shocked. Even Shiyu, who was beside him, revealed a stunned expression. Wait, she wasn't kidding, right? He felt that this Senior Ji thought more highly of Senior Panda than him. Legends under the age of 30 could be counted on one hand even in Donghuang. It could no longer be described as a genius. Ji Mengzhu said, "There's nothing impossible." She said, "Although the person beside you is very outstanding, don't underestimate me. I personally helped choose Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast. Even the growth plan of that iron-eating beast to become Emperor Wu's strongest pet was made by me. Do you believe me?" Lin Xiaoju's face was red. She suddenly felt that this ancestor grandma, this ancestor big sis, was a good person. If she could become stronger, who wouldn't be willing? Wait, Senior Ji, if you teach me, what about Shiyu? Can you help him formulate the growth plan of the iron-eating beast like how you helped Emperor Wu? His 11's talent is also very good. Lin Xiaoju immediately remembered Shiyu and 11. Ah, Ji Mengzhu was silent. Chapter 716, The Hopeful Panda Senior, 2. Chapter 716, The Hopeful Panda Senior, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Little girl, why mention that? If possible, didn't she want to? But the problem was that she only took a look at Shiyu's iron-eating beast and could tell that the cultivation level of that iron-eating beast was even higher than Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast. How could she teach anything? Moreover, when she thought of how Shiyu could even nurture a monarch-level ginseng baby to destroy totems 2 levels higher, Ji Mengzhu felt that she was even more unqualified to teach Shiyu. She even suspected that ginseng baby was a mythical race. After thinking about it, she still felt that it was easier to impart all her knowledge to Lin Xiaoju, a little girl who looked very much like her. I can't teach him. His iron-eating beast is already more outstanding than Lord Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast at the same level. Ji Mengzhu shook her head. Ah! Lin Xiaoju was stunned. She opened her mouth slightly and turned to look at Shiyu. This was because Shiyu was a pioneer in the field of iron-eating beast cultivation. Although Lin Xiaoju and the others knew that Shiyu's iron-eating beast was strong, very strong, so strong that it had evolved several times, they still didn't have an accurate concept of how strong 11 was. According to Shiyu's archaeological discoveries, the iron-eating beast was even the trump card of the legendary beast tamer Emperor Wu. Then Lin Xiaoju and the others naturally thought that Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast should be the strongest iron-eating beast. After all, that was a legendary level beast tamer, not even just a mere legend level. However, this was the first time Lin Xiaoju had heard that 11 was even stronger than Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast at the same level. Moreover, these words came from the feeder who cultivated iron-eating beasts for Emperor Wu. Instantly, Senior Panda was rather shocked. Lin Xiaoju looked at Shiyu in confusion. Wait a minute, wasn't it a little ridiculous for him to be stronger than an Emperor Wu trump card of the same level? It was fine if they defeated the Space Emperor's secondary pet, but why was he now being compared with the legendary beast tamer's trump card? Is that so? Shiyu also scratched his cheek innocently. Was he that powerful? That made sense. After all, even if it was Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast, it couldn't maximize all the racial skills such as giant transformation, deterrence, and impregnable at the monarch level. Of course, apart from these, there was also a pile of body forging skills. Even the Overlord body armor and the Undying Golden body. By the way, Senior Lin, your iron-eating beast hasn't evolved yet, right? You can let Senior Ji plan it, Shiyu said. Yes, yes. Lin Xiaoju nodded. Ji Mengzhu also nodded and said, in that case, I'll carry out the transfer first. It'll take about a day. Ji Mengzhu wanted to move from the legendary ruins to the Wuling ruins. Shiyu naturally had to wait for this day. After all, they were still waiting to take over the legendary ruins. During this period, bring me to see the iron-eating beast core in the ruins and receive a new batch of iron-eating beasts. Ji Mengzhu looked at Lin Xiaoju and smiled. All right. Lin Xiaoju was full of motivation. At the same time, he said, Shiyu, you should come too. Forget it. Shiyu hurriedly rejected. Compared to seeing how his 3 armies were doing, he still wanted to study the control talent bead as soon as possible. In the face of Senior Panda's invitation, he decisively took the memory crystal of legend by Chuan's experience in using the beast taming talent and ran to develop the telepathy talent. Apart from that, Ling also held the memory crystal of legend by Chuan regarding biological modification technology and continued to study the 10th inscription in detail. 11 naturally cooperated with Ling. The other pets were also busy. Baby Ginseng had just evolved and was very smug, but it was quickly arranged by Shiyu to study the phoenix fruit. Now that Baby Ginseng had fire element, the difficulty of researching the phoenix fruit should have decreased a little. This was the key to joining the Mixed Blood Bureau. As for Buggy, it was using the worm silk and phantom illusion to modify the corpses of the 3 overlords and the black meteorite yak as puppets. However, looking at the totem-level corpse, Buggy felt that it was boring. It felt that even if it was repaired, it would only be SOSO. After all, Baby Ginseng was the one who blew it up. It was better to go to Baby Ginseng and replicate a dream illusion. Then, it would imitate and would condense a Baby Ginseng illusion every day and store it in its spatial pocket. Although the self-destruction power of Baby Ginseng's phantom was worlds apart from Baby Ginseng's main body. However, if the power was not enough, could it be made up with numbers? It seemed feasible to save 600 billion Ginseng baby phantoms and let them line up to self-destruct. However, the greatest problem was that the maintenance of this forbidden Ginseng baby weapon also required a lot of energy. Buggy didn't have time to maintain so many trump cards at all times. This was so difficult to solve. After thinking about it, Buggy could only helplessly look at the totem corpse again. Kai Tong was staring at its 3 Overlord undead. The more it looked at them, the more it disliked them. Their battle results were too lousy. Ever since it controlled these 3 undead, they had never had a good battle result. Apart from pulling the corpse, there didn't seem to be any other use. Kai Tong was thinking about when to kill them and change to a powerful new undead. Unfortunately, Shiyu definitely wouldn't allow it. After all, if it killed them, the proficiency of the spirit release skill would definitely directly reach perfect level, allowing Kai Tong to break through to the Overlord level. Obviously, Shiyu definitely wouldn't let Kai Tong be the first to break through. Skill proficiency, legendary resources, an Overlord will. This was the threshold to break through in Shiyu's team. Apart from the proficiency points to be added, only 11, Baby Ginseng, and Sulu had the corresponding conditions to reach these thresholds. Among them, Shiyu was not in a hurry to let Baby Ginseng and Susu break through because they could use the time fruit to reach the Overlord level at any time. The impact of breaking through was not very big. Chapter 717, The Hopeful Panda Senior, 3. Chapter 717, The Hopeful Panda Senior, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Therefore, the most suitable to break through was undoubtedly 11, who wasn't very compatible with the time fruit. At the Monarch level, 11 could defeat Baby Ginseng and Susu, who had used the time fruit. After breaking through to the Overlord level, it would definitely be stronger. Apart from that, it was also to take care of the initial pet and the most hardworking 11 in the team. The pets were busy with their own things. Even the Tyrant Dragon and the Duckbill Beast were training themselves crazily. It had been 2 months, but they still couldn't defeat the Transcendent level Green Silkworm. They were very hateful. Name Green Silkworm Phantom. Level of growth, Transcendent. Skill, Worm Silk, Dao Proficiency, Absolute Sleep, Expert, Illusory Phantom, Perfect, Deterrence, Proficient, Super Sight, Expert, High Speed Healing, Proficient, Space Shackles, Perfect, Instant Transmission, Expert, Concealment, Expert. Energy points, 4399. Of course, this was also related to the skill proficiency and skill accompanying moves of the Transcendent level worm. It was indeed too ridiculous. Shiyu also closed his eyes and cultivated. He held the Control Talent Bead. Just like the Awakening Mirror, when Shiyu used this Control Talent Bead, it consumed physical strength. The difference was that the Awakening Talent level contained in the Awakening Mirror was very low. It could only awaken creatures of transcendent races, so it didn't consume much physical strength at all. As for the Control Talent Bead, Shiyu had plundered it from the Legend Beast Tamer. The other party's development of this talent had already reached a very high level, so when Shiyu used it, it consumed a lot of physical strength. The talent level plundered depended on the Beast Tamer's beast taming level and development level. However, considering that the Yu Maiden was only at the legendary level herself, the toy she created shouldn't be able to plunder the talent of a legendary beast tamer. She probably had to do it herself. The talent of a level 7 and level 8 beast tamer might be the limit of the plundering of this bead. A level 7 beast taming talent. If other level 6 beast tamers used this beast taming talent, they would probably instantly squeeze the other party dry. However, Shiyu really didn't feel any pressure when using it. Soon, half an hour passed. As he didn't have anyone to compare him to, Shiyu didn't know if he was a genius. He opened his eyes, and blue spiritual waves spread in his eyes. In the next moment, the rock in front of him was directly controlled by his spiritual power to float. Then it was crushed with a bang. Stone fragments flew. In just half an hour, he used Bai Chuan's development experience to develop the use of spiritual power with the talent control bead. In terms of power, it wasn't very strong. It was only used to deal with commander-level pets. His mental strength level was still inferior to his physique level. Combat Department Shiyu. Evolution? Combat Department, Spirit Department Shiyu. It was another icing on the cake, a dispensable skill +1. It could be used to turn on the lights and get drinks. After learning psychic power, Shiyu put down the talent bead again. Unfortunately, after leaving the talent bead, he couldn't use psychic power anymore. His control over his body was immediately much weaker. However, Shiyu could sense that as long as he trained hard and constantly let his body become proficient in this use experience, he would sooner or later leave the talent control bead and could easily use psychic power. Wait, I've also learned psychic power now. Even if I can't use the skill index to add points, can I increase the experience of using psychic power through the psychic memory water? Shiyu fell into deep thought. He felt that if he could master Dao proficiency psychic power, even if the telepathy development didn't succeed, it didn't seem to be a loss. No. He was no longer a child. He should want all of them. Speaking of which, Shiyu looked at the talent control bead and was already completely certain that this was a good thing. This talent was not wrong. This control talent bead could completely be passed down as a family heirloom and sect treasure. What beast tamers lacked was the ability to control their strength, and the legendary level talent control bead completely made up for this flaw. If he successfully developed his telepathy talent through this control talent bead and made his telepathy stronger, could others, such as Senior Lu, use this control talent bead to imitate him and develop his talent? If Emperor Sha could create a special time meditation technique for others to learn, and the iron-eating beast general could develop a massage technique to strengthen the metal element talent to help the iron-eating beast become stronger, then he, Shiyu, could definitely open up a new mental school. Create a new spiritual talent usage that was different from an archaeologist. Shiyu suddenly had the thought of becoming a master and felt that it was quite interesting. Just like creating the green silkworm cocoon system and the mechanical phantom beast system, it was very interesting. If the future beast tamer with the gift of telepathy in Dong Huang had battle power stronger than a strengthening type beast tamer, that would be awesome. At that time, the telepathy talent could wash away the humiliation of the weakest battle power talent. Perhaps, it wasn't limited to the telepathy talent. For example, was it possible for the beast-eared girl to use the control talent bead to develop the fusion talent so that her body could fuse with multiple pets at the same time like Emperor Wu? In that case, it would be awesome. Cultivate. However, the most important thing now was to quickly develop his talent and prove the feasibility of all of this. Chapter 7:18, Creating a Super Sect. Chapter 7:18, Creating a Super Sect. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. The next day, Ji Mengzhu successfully transferred and became the spirit of the iron-eating beast ruins. After the transfer was successful, she gave the legendary ruins to Shiyu according to the agreement. As for Shiyu, he returned the other party's ruin stone. Although that was the case, Senior Ji would probably leave it to Senior Panda. After all, she didn't need spatial equipment as a ruin spirit. Among them, there was also a large number of iron-eating beast evolution resources. Shiyu had no use for them, but it was suitable to nurture the iron-eating beast army. As for the 10 meteorite fragments, Shiyu took them away first and strengthened them in the rest of the spirit accumulation jade. He gave 11 priority for the evolution resource to avoid insufficient resources. Shiyu estimated that there would be some left in the end. If he used the rest and sent it back to the iron-eating beast core, he would try to save 2 pieces for his senior. The best situation was that Dong Huang could catch Yunnan as soon as possible. Even if they couldn't, blowing up a leg was enough for a bunch of iron-eating beasts to evolve into second stages. However, ordinary iron-eating beasts didn't have an overlord-level will. If their willpower didn't reach above medium level, it would probably be very difficult to control the power of the demon god. After that, Shiyu stayed in Wuling City for 2 more days. In the past 2 days, Lin Hongyan, the beast-eared girl, White Brook, and the others from the iron-eating beast corps gradually learned of Ji Mengzhu's existence. They were shocked to the extreme. They were very confused about Shiyu digging out an ancestor. However, once they accepted the setting, no matter who it was, they liked this ancestor from 2,000 years ago very much. They asked her all kinds of questions about the Emperor Wu dynasty. Lin Hongyan was like this, and so was the beast-eared girl. Of course, Shiyu was no exception. For example, he had asked about all the skills corresponding to the remaining inscriptions. Among them, the iron-eating beast that evolved with the meteorite fragment could awaken a skill called Demon God Body. This skill was both metal and dark element. The skill effect was simpler than Shiyu imagined. It was an iron-eating beast that could transform its body into a demon god body with extremely high affinity for the dark element. The iron-eating beast with the demon god body could automatically produce the power of the dark element demon god in its body. It could mobilize the power of the demon god to perfectly integrate into any metal element skill and increase the effect of the skill in all aspects. For example, it could allow the dual element Space Quake to be upgraded to a skill of the metal, space, and dark elements. It could allow the lightning needles of the metal and lightning elements to be introduced into the lightning in the body and upgraded to special black lightning of the dark, metal, and lightning elements. It was similar to the effect of the demon god form that 11 entered with the power of the demon god in the source of physical strength. But if it used skills, the consumption and side effects would definitely be smaller, and the increase would be greater. This skill was a key skill that could increase the overall strength of the iron-eating beast. It could allow the iron-eating beast to obtain a perfect second or third element. Apart from that, the other 4 inscription skills also had their own characteristics, but unfortunately, there was no metal. Even if there was metal, Shiyu had no skill slot. The iron-eating beast race was really inconvenient. 2 days later, Shiyu still decided to return to Pingcheng. "Aren't you staying for longer?" Seeing that Shiyu was about to leave, Lin Xiuzhu said. "No, there are other things." Shiyu realized that it was easy to be distracted if he stayed here. He stayed here and always wanted to see the situation of his 3 armies from time to time. With a look, he would discover that the cultivation speed of the beast tamers and pets in the 3 armies was too slow, causing Shiyu to panic. In his anxiety, he wanted to help and provide some help, causing his focus to be delayed. It was better to return to the cold icy plain to train hard. Out of sight, out of mind. Although Senior Panda, the beast-eared girl, and Senior Ji Mengzhu could chat from time to time, there were too many external things, causing him to be unable to concentrate all his energy. Of course, there was another reason. It was because Shiyu had already inquired about the history of the Emperor Wu dynasty from Senior Ji Mengzhu through 2 days of chatting. There was no need to stay any longer. "All right." Lin Xiuzhu said, "By the way, do you want to take a look at the military martial arts competition later?" "This will definitely come." Shiyu smiled. Seeing the Panda army defeat other soldiers, how could he not come? Of course, he would also cheer for the Buggy army and the Phantom Beast army. "All right." Lin Xiuzhu also smiled excitedly. She felt that with Senior Ji's help, there would definitely be no problem. What green silkworm cocoon, what mechanical phantom beast? They would all lose to the iron-eating beast corps this time. Don't worry and go. At this moment, Senior Ji Mengzhu was like Lin Xiuzhu's personal grandmother, guiding Lin Xiuzhu with all her might. She smiled and nodded at Shiyu. She believed that the next time Shiyu came, he would definitely be shocked by the changes in the iron-eating beast corps. Icefield City, Pingcheng, Ice Dragon Snow Mountain. Perhaps it was his hometown, but Shiyu still felt that cultivating here was the most interesting. There was only half a year left. Shiyu made up his mind to be serious and not slack off. After returning to the icy plain, just like 2 months ago, Shiyu called all his pets over to move again. Then, he began his painful cultivation life. Shiyu had 2 goals for this bitter cultivation. First, he would let 11 super racial skills reach perfect level. With the help of the Aurora Magnetic Gold, it could break through and become a perfect overlord. Then, it would work hard towards evolution. Shiyu felt that the skill of the demon god body was not bad. He decided to let 11 master it before the evolution of light and darkness. However, according to Senior Ji Mengzhu, the more meteorite fragments it swallowed, the stronger the evolution of the demon god body. Shiyu decided to let 11 devour and evolve after the overlord level. After all, the overlord level was definitely stronger than the monarch level's devouring and digestion. Chapter 719, Creating a Super Sect, 2. Chapter 719, Creating a Super Sect, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. In any case, the meteorite fragments were in ample supply now. There were 10 of them. When the time came, he didn't know if he could control a few fragments in one go. Finally, he would increase the height of the superalloy and white lightning points and evolve the light and darkness through the combination of the power of the demon god and the power of the white lightning. If the conditions allowed, it was best to find another light element legendary resource. Second, prioritize adding some points to Ling's top-notch intelligent divine net to increase its research ability again. After all, this ability concerned the progress of many researches such as superalloy, fusion mecha, and Kirin Phantom Beast. Shiyu was very familiar with adding points. Although it was still painful every time, practice made perfect. Unfortunately, he couldn't look at his own will level. Otherwise, Shiyu felt that he had to have an overlord's will no matter what. At that moment, Shiyu was happy and in pain. The happy thing was that he could actually use the psychic memory water drop created by Buggy and Susu. He could learn the experience of Buggy using psychic power, the Dao proficiency level psychic experience. It was an export transfer. From being able to use psychic power to turn off the lights and get water, to using psychic power to create a mental barrier defense, to controlling a stone to fire a cannonball-like attack, to using psychic power to create a perception domain. Shiyu's development of mental power increased at lightning speed. This made his mental strength level quickly as terrifying as his physique. Now, with the skill, although Shiyu only had one low-level skill, with his physique, he could finally say to a monarch-level pet, "Come, one-on-one." Of course, it was only limited to ordinary monarchs below the level of the National League. Letting Shiyu challenge monarchs like 11 and Baby Ginseng alone was definitely purely looking for trouble. Apart from that, there was also a surprise. As his psychic proficiency increased, the burden of adding points was much smaller. The pain he endured when adding points was even smaller. After adding points, his recovery speed was even faster. Physical control talent was indeed not a wrong choice. In fact, at the transcendent level of psychic power, Shiyu could already leave the talent bead and use psychic power on his own. Regarding the development of mental strength, Shiyu was undoubtedly a huge success. However, regarding the development of soul power and telepathy talent, Shiyu suffered every time. In this aspect, there was no experience to reference. After all, Bai Chuan himself had only developed one transcendent ability, psychic. He followed his previous thoughts and used his soul power as a shell, his telepathy as a bridge, and his mental and physical energy as energy to condense a substitute to condense a nascent soul on his pet. He kept trying, but in the end, he undoubtedly failed. It didn't work at all. As expected, cultivation was not that easy. Shiyu began to try other ideas. But none of them succeeded. It was only when Shiyu raised the proficiency of his psychic power to the Dao proficiency level through the memory water drop that a new usage of max-level psychic power made up for Shiyu's pain. This new usage was mental strengthening. Through the max-level psychic proficiency, it could strengthen the spiritual power of other life forms. Buggy had long known this move, but the tactical meaning was not great and it was useless. After all, it was the only one in the team who played the spiritual element. However, if this skill appeared on Shiyu, the difference would be different. Shiyu had yet to successfully develop his telepathy talent. Firstly, through the body control talent and that psychic memory water, he developed a low-level mental strengthening talent. This made Shiyu not know whether to laugh or cry. He didn't know if he should be happy or what. Because his intention to establish a sect seemed to be completed in a short period of time. I have the experience method to use the control talent bead to develop spiritual power here. I also have the max level psychic and memory water drop here. Through these three combinations, I seem to be able to let a beast tamer have the low-level second talent, spiritual strengthening. Shiyu was silent. He would take note of it in a small notebook. It was called the Superpower School. Not only could he obtain superpowers, but he could also use them to strengthen pets. Control talent bead, memory water for psychic development method, and memory water for psychic full proficiency were indispensable. After gathering these three things, he could obtain the low-level second talent. Just imagining if Senior Lu, who was already very strong, had learned that mental strengthening skill. It was simply so strong that it exploded. Shiyu was excited. Unfortunately, its limitations were greater. One would need him to provide the experience water and talent bead. Moreover, not everyone could use the talent bead. Considering the consumption of this talent bead, Shiyu's initial judgment was that it had to be at least a level 6 beast tamer to barely develop spiritual power. Apart from that, compared to the mental strengthening talent of beast tamers of the same level, the consumption was greater and the effect was smaller. This point destined that superpower schools could only be used by beast tamers with non-strengthening and non-combat talent. For example, it was very suitable for beast tamers with telepathy talent. As for those beast tamers who had battle-type talent, it was definitely impossible for them to choose not to use their main talent for a second talent. After all, the stamina of beast tamers was limited. They couldn't activate two strengthening skills together. Even beast tamers with telepathy talent probably wouldn't be willing to use it on anyone, such as Shiyu. When Kai Tong possessed him, he needed to invest a lot of physical strength and energy to pilot the mecha. He didn't have the energy to use mental strengthening at all. Unless he pursued instant eruption or used it when sending Buggy out in 1vs1, the cost-effective ratio wasn't very high. Chapter 720, Creating a Super Sect, 3. Chapter 720, Creating a Super Sect, 3. But even so, Shiyu felt that he had unintentionally created an epoch-making invention. It was better than nothing. Even if it was a legendary beast tamer, they probably wouldn't refuse the opportunity to obtain superpowers. If he established a sect, he would probably be able to crush Brother Zheng Hai's Binhai Training Hall in minutes and become the most popular beast-taming sect in Donghuang. After all, there were still a bunch of beast tamers with non-combat talent in the country. There were especially many of these people in Bureau 13 of Donghuang. For example, all the members of the Feeding Bureau, all the members of the Archaeological Bureau, Jiao Xian of the Mechanical Bureau, and even Legend Yin and his son in the ancient capital. None of them had battle-type talent. They were already talented. If they had the chance to obtain a mental strengthening talent, even if it was a low-level version, who wouldn't want it? Their battle power would undoubtedly increase greatly. Even beast tamers with battle talent would probably be very curious about superpowers. After all, they didn't have to strengthen their pets. They could use them for fun. Susu, Eternal God. Skill Memory Water Drop, Eternal God. This discovery made Shiyu's disappointment that he had not successfully developed the telepathy talent disappear. He had a stronger motivation to continue developing the telepathy talent. However, he felt that he had to change his train of thought. His telepathy mutation was caused by the undying fruit and by his soul power. But clearly, his use of soul power was inferior to mental power. As for the control skill of the soul, Bai Chuan didn't successfully develop it either. He only developed mental strength, mental power, various life-nourishing skills, and physical strength skills. From this, one could tell the specialness of soul power. Therefore, Shiyu was thinking that since Bai Chuan had no experience in developing soul power, could he reference the experience of others? For example, he could directly use Kai Tong's possession and other soul skill memory water droplets to cultivate with the talent bead to increase his understanding of soul power. For example, he could go to the Mixed Blood Bureau and get a set of soul cultivation manuals. Then, he would think of a way to increase the proficiency of this skill. The previous failures all stemmed from insufficient proficiency. With enough proficiency, he didn't even want to develop the mental strengthening talent. The talent would have already come out on its own. Memory water drop was undoubtedly a good thing. It looked like he had successfully found a way to exploit the system. Using the memory water drop, he felt that he was one step closer to developing the strongest psychic talent that combined mental, soul, and physical strength. Handsome people were pretty lucky. In most cases, they were happy. After Shiyu successfully developed the superpower school and had a clearer development path, not long after, good news came from baby Ginseng. At this moment, it was shaking its leaves proudly. It didn't waste much energy at all before successfully researching the cultivation method of the phoenix fruit. Shiyu looked at the fiery red phoenix tree and the 2 fresh phoenix fruits on it with a happy expression. Yi! In the words of baby Ginseng, the phoenix fruit that contained the characteristics of phoenixes, flames, and plants that could modify the bloodline of the human body was indeed very difficult to nurture, but this time, they encountered this talented research ginseng. Baby Ginseng just had Kai Tong use its full-level possession to possess it. Through the mutation, it personally comprehended the power of the phoenix and directly used its flames and plant characteristics to find a large number of ways to nurture the phoenix fruit. Moreover, it created 2 phoenix fruits to prove its success. As for the first one, it had been dissected already. As expected of you guys. M.I. Yi! Kai Tong and baby Ginseng expressed that there was no need to celebrate. This was all basic. Go, use the phoenix fruit to show off. Shiyu was very grateful to Kai Tong and baby Ginseng for helping him join another bureau. After mastering the planting method of the phoenix fruit, it meant that Shiyu could also establish a phoenix god shrine in the country and create a phoenix family. With this condition, it was easy to join the Mixed Blood Bureau. Shiyu was actually quite curious about the benefits of the Mixed Blood Bureau. I understand. Shiyu smiled readily. In the next moment, his expression changed again. 3 blessings all at once. He quickly came to Ling's side. On Ling's side, the 10th inscription was finally successfully developed. In the Mechanical Research Institute, Shiyu personally watched 11 eat the superalloy created by Ling. Then, he hardened his body and carved a new inscription that was different from the previous 9 inscriptions, completing the evolution again. However, what made Shiyu's balls hurt was why this new inscription looked so much like the Chinese word void. The evolution this time was very small. 11's entire body was filled with the light of evolution for a moment before it ended. 11 didn't awaken any new skills because of this, but its energy level increased to more than 10 million. However, this didn't affect anything. Through the skill index, Shiyu could clearly confirm that the current 11 could already learn superalloy through the skill index. Woo! 11 looked at Shiyu nervously and excitedly. As for Ling, it had an affirmative expression. It can be taught. Shiyu nodded. Woo! 11 cheered excitedly. Evolution! Evolution! Return to first place. Return to first place. This is already the limit. The difference between the iron-eating beast race and the alloy monster race is still too big. It can only cooperate with a small evolution to increase the skill compatibility and use your talent to learn superalloy. Ling sighed.